having kids as a cop is hard in general, but being the one that has to have the kid and carry the kid and grow the kid, yeah, that's even more complicated. The truth is, it's going to sideline you for a year. Even if you work in the most progressive of agencies that it's going to give you all the grace, right? Like I didn't have any issues in any of my pregnancy where I worked. They gladly offered me a light duty assignment so I could continue working. For my first pregnancy, I actually ended up coming off the road a little sooner than I had planned because I had like a health thing that happened and it just ended up pulling me off the road sooner. And so I ended up coming off the road at like 11 weeks. And it takes you out of actually doing the job. You're not doing investigations. You're not out pushing a car. You're not interacting with people. I mean, I had the benefit of learning some things that I didn't learn before, but still, you're not doing the job that you really want to be doing. It also takes away from your experience, right? It takes away from when you do go for those promotions or you do want to go for those specialty teams, or if something pops up while you're on light duty, it can be difficult to navigate that. I experienced, I think, the normal amount of isolation and anxiety and depression that I think every woman and probably every man, new dad experiences in those first couple of weeks that you are a new parent, right? You don't know what you're doing. You're not sleeping. But women have the added perk of hormones that can impact you both mentally and physically for up to a year postpartum. There's a reason why other countries in this world like put you off for a year. There's that option, right? Because a lot can happen. And again, like I was very blessed to have 5 whole months that I could be off. I enjoyed those 5 months and I felt great and ready to come back to work when those 5 months were up. And I got back and things were good for a minute. And then that first time that I got held over on a run and I couldn't get home to put my baby to bed. Okay, all right, fine. I dealt with it. But then it happens again. Then it happens again. And you find yourself getting more and more angry and upset, wanting to cry and FaceTiming your kid and just not being there for those moments and having to work on those holidays. You know, it just started kind of building up and I found myself getting more angry. I found myself crying every single time I had a late run. And I worked in a busy area. So getting a late run, getting something 30 minutes before you're supposed to be done and then being held over an hour or 2 hours was not uncommon, right? You just kind of sucked it up and you did it. Mm-hmm. But I couldn't suck it up. It was really difficult. And my anxiety around getting hurt drastically increased. Suddenly, it's not just about me, right? Suddenly, running code to some dangerous call was fun at one point, and now it's like, oh man, what if something happens? What's going to happen to my kid? And those things you never thought of before start to weigh on you. And that didn't just manifest at work. You know, I carried it home because when I was at home, I got mad at myself for not being my best at work. I felt like I was failing on both sides. That I wasn't fully present for my family because I was thinking about the things I didn't do at work or the things I did wrong. And then I was failing at work because I was thinking about what I wasn't doing at home and wanting to be home and not wanting to be at work. I was snippy. I was frustrated. I felt like I had zero control over my feelings. What ended up driving me to get help was I unfortunately had 2 infant deaths in my first couple weeks back from postpartum. Geez. The first one was pretty much the exact same age as my kid. Ugh. She had like this head of curly hair, exactly like my kid. And so I couldn't help but kind of put my kid in that place. But really when it hit me was when I got home that night and my kid was already in bed. And I remember going into her room just to make sure she was breathing. And she was fine. And I left and I stood at the door and I couldn't leave. I went back in the room to check she was breathing. And I probably did that 10 times in like 5 minutes. Is there a blanket too close? Did a stuffed animal fall in there? Did I see this right? The anxiety that something could go wrong, would go wrong. I don't know, like a crib bumper from the 1970s would manifest in the crib and smother my baby. Like, it was completely ridiculous because I was a safe sleep. I was militant about it. My kid wore a sleep sack and slept on a prison mattress.
I remember
you know
this.
What I mean?
Put them in the box.
Nothing there. Nothing there.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
But even though my logical brain could tell me, hey, like, everything's fine, like, something in me could not let it go. And I had a moment where I was like, this isn't right. It was around that time that I realized, like, there's more going on than what I can handle. And so at that point, I just ended up going to like my regular doctor about it, and they got me help, and I ended up getting on some medications that were really helpful. It made me realize that, I probably needed those meds prior to even getting pregnant, but it was, a game changer at that point. And I would say like things got astronomically better.